If you're watching this, you probably want to make a domain expansion, or you just watched the VFX I made and you got inspired. Before I get started, I want to mention that I'm not going to be explaining the topics too much in depth. If I do that, it'll take too long. So for now, I'll be just scratching the surface. Alright, let's get started. First, I'm going to introduce the tools I use to make this domain expansion. First, I use something called editable meshes. I'll put an example on screen. This is from a Roblox API that allows you to edit, create, and delete meshes by using vertices. Second is a math topic called spherical coordinates. I'll try to explain this and visualize it for you, so don't get scared by this topic and name. Using spherical coordinates, we can make a visualization. We can use this as a basis for our sphere for the domain expansion. So on screen, you should see a visualization of the sphere being formed. If you look closely at the lines and dots, don't worry about the lines, they're just making it easier to understand. But more on the dots. These dots represent something we call vertexes. So vertices, a plural for a vertex, are just corners or points where sides meet in a 2D shapes or where 3 or more edges intersect in a 3D solid figures. Alright, let's look at the code and know how to make it now. The first section is just all our variables that we'll be using. In this section, just worry about the rings and segments. The second section is for the for I loop. This is basically an elevator. It starts from the bottom and moves up one row at a time until it hits the top, which is the rings variable. Local phi is just calculating a vertical angle. It converts our current row into a mathematical angle from 0 to pi radians, or 0 to 180 degrees. The current ring points and all grid points variable is basically empty tables to hold the x, y, and z coordinates that we are about to use to calculate for this specific row. The third section is for the stagger. Stagger is just checks for an odd number of rows. If this is true, then it shifts the dot sideways by exactly half a segment. This will create the interlocking diamond and checkerboard pattern instead of the boring square grid. The variable segments to draw is being used as to draw a full circle of dots. So we're doing 16 segments in this scenario, so there's 16 vertexes. But in the extreme north and south poles, the circle has to pinch completely shut. So we need to only draw one dot at the pole. So we force segments to draw to be 0 in order to do this. Alright, let's move on to the inner loop. So the for j loop. While the elevator is stopped in a row, and as we know the elevator is going from bottom to top, this loop walks in a circle around the sphere, creating a full ring of all vertices. Alright, so how do we calculate this? So we're going to use a variable called theta. This is the horizontal angle, from 0 to 2 pi radians, or 0 to 360 degrees. Since we now have the horizontal and vertical angle, we can use trigonometry to make a circle using these two angles, phi and theta. We use it to turn it into a 3D direction pointing outwards from the center in order to get the position of the vertex. So now we have to calculate the world position. We use the variable world position. This takes one stud direction, multiplies it by the radius. The radius in our scenario is 50 studs, and places it correctly relative to the center C-frame. And that's it. Then we store it in the tables we made to use for later, and everything else after this code is just drawing the circle for visualization. Now, how do we use these vertices to make these sphere? Well, we can use these to make shards. So let's look at the code and how do we do this. So here's the function that creates a single shard. The target ring and target segment is just the most middle one, as we just divide it by 2 and flourish so we can get a single integer. We look into our grid table, the table that we stored all our vertices, and plot the points that makes up the specific square, which is P1, P2, P3, and P4. And if we look closer, it's just a 2D array. It's just moving by a specific value to get these points. We use the target ring and the target segment in order to make a single shard. If you didn't know, we use triangles specifically and not squares or any other shapes, as games in general likes rendering in triangles as it's the most simplest way of going about it. So in this part, I'm only going to highlight the important parts, of which is the editable mesh API. So in the first part, we make the editable mesh and create dummy points. This is just being made just so we can use it later. Then we use the 4 points we have created to make 2 shards. We make sure to make the front and back so we can see both sides. That's it. We have created the editable mesh. Now we know how to create a shard. To create this animation for the shards, just use the layer function. Here's an example of how to create this effect. You can modify this script as much as you need, and remember this is just a baseline of how it works. Congrats, you have learned everything you have to know to make a domain expansion. Now in the description, I'll leave a modified visualization script and an example of a domain expansion script. I won't go over the circle plane as that's basically the same idea that we talked about. It would just be boring. I won't give you the exact domain expansion I used, however I can assure you this is the same method I used. Thanks for watching, and let me know if I did something wrong, guys, and comment below if you have any questions. Also, tag me if you guys make anything with this. And again, thank you for watching this.